Hey, I'm Mike from Retro Boost, and I have another commentary video for you today. This is going to be commentary on episode 5, the Luigi's Mansion Revisit. This was the final episode that I did for Volume 1, which Volume 1 is these 5 episodes that I filmed all back to back to back and then released kind of all at once. So this was like the biggest production, really, it really was. This is the biggest production I did as part of Volume 1. There's a lot of moving parts with this revisit. I mean, it's got a guest character, the first time ever doing that. There's like a whole opening sequence. It's a pretty long video, which on one hand, I kind of regret making videos that get longer than 25 minutes. On the other hand, you know, it's all for fun. I mean, if I'm not enjoying myself making it, then the content's not going to have any heart to it, you know, but it was definitely an exercise after the fact, learning how to be more concise, for sure. So let's take a stroll down memory lane here and see how this episode does. 3, 2, 1, start. As far as alternate stuff goes, it's probably not a ton that's like interesting to see. I can overlay some things if I see the opportunity, but most of it's covered already with the Volume 1 gag reel, the blooper reel, outtakes. Volume 1 outtakes is like 75% this episode. But I can give you some stuff here and there. So this one has like a whole little opening. I think it's about 6 minutes long. A little bit long. I've learned to be more concise since then. But I think what I do here is pretty fun if you can just let yourself get into it. But there's definitely opportunities that could have been cut here that I'll point out. So I think I did like 2 or 3 takes of this, and like
I'm a cookie fiend.
Every take involves a new cookie, and I know I'm not the picture of perfect physique here, but I'm also not the kind of guy that sits around all day eating sugar cookies. So I couldn't help but feel a little bit like, oh, this is really bad for me if I get this more than like 2 takes. Come on. But I want to say it took 2 or 3.
I don't own this game anymore. I foolishly
traded this in. Luigi's Mansion has just popped itself into
I never got it back.
Into existence here. Oh, excuse me. When this happens, I get to doing commentary videos and just start yawning a whole bunch.
He's back from vacation.
That game I got from Video Game World, which I just did a video on recently.
Have a penchant for sweets.
Local game shop near me. It's one of the games that I've been hoping that they would get in their possession for a long time, like months. I was like checking their website, checking in person. And then I just checked it one day, and it was right before I decided to do this. I was like, I saw it, I bought it. I was like, yes, Luigi's Mansion. Finally, I got it back again because I traded it into GameStop like 15 whatever years ago. But I got it back. Episode 5 originally was not going to be Luigi's Mansion. But after I acquired it, I was like, okay, we can do this.
Before I go to bed, though, I should thank Bob for the stuff.
Now that breathing sound made me realize too, this is the only video. Oh God! This is the only video that I've done that has like surround sound. I actually took the time for like almost every single scene to like create a soundstage and like map out different tracks basically. So like I climb on the bed and I come from that side of the screen. A lot of the spooky noises happen like behind and around you.
Still in your cruise.
It's pretty cool. If you have headphones, I recommend trying with headphones to watch this episode. It's pretty cool. I haven't done it since because it's a lot of work. Like keeping track of all that stuff as you do the production is pretty tricky. But it was cool. It's cool to do. The profile picture for Bob was what's his name? David Hasselhoff from Baywatch. Then the lights go out. I have the remote in my hand. There's a remote for those smart lights. It's Hue. Philips Hue lights have the remote.
Jeez, where tripped it? Okay.
This is pretty tough because like my camera I have isn't very good for dark stuff. So there's a lot of like post processing on these scenes to like bring out the blacks more and make it look like it's a little more stylish than it really was.
Come on.
There's like creepy music playing. I think it's like a fun little crappy horror film. Is basically what this is. I get the door knocks. And like the first knock was like more to the side, and the other two were in the middle. I mean, it's like cool little surround sound things like that. Yeah, moments like this, like where I could have cut. It's like, you know, learning to be concise. It's hard because like when you're having fun and you're in the middle of making this stuff, it's like really easy to want to have like all of these scenes because you're like, oh, that's fun. This is cool. That's fun. I want to have this. I gotta have that. It's definitely a learning process because the Spider-Man video that I just did, that went up on Christmas. Like, that one goes from opening to me playing the game in, like, under about 2.5, 3 minutes. Like, half the time that this one did. And there's more, like, interesting stuff happening on screen, too. Because this is just me in a crappy horror film. The Spider-Man thing has, like, Spider-Man showing up and dancing around, you know. It gets to the point more quick. So, you know, I've improved, is the point. I've learned. Okay, here comes our nun. So that's a costume from the movie The Nun. He comes behind right here too.
Not a
He's in the house. It's like a horror movie. He's teleporting because ghosts can do that.
I locked the door though. I mean,
He had sneakers on too that you could totally see.
What was that?
Yeah, that's a costume from The Nun, and we cut the mouth out so that the mouth is visible. It wasn't like that before. It was like these teeth. It was a whole mask. We cut off the mouth part to allow my dad. He's the one in the costume. My dad's face to be visible because it was a lot funnier, and it made his voice easier to hear too. It's like a 2-part thing.
Wait.
Yeah, since we were in the COVID lockdown, you know, I'm trying not to have like friends come over and help me with this stuff, so it's better just to have family assist, which I'm super grateful for. I'm really grateful for that. Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion. Of course. I should have known. Fine. I'll talk about the game. Not like I have much of a choice.
I think this is the only video where I do that. Overlay revisiting or whatever over the game title screen. Because everything in Volume 2
wasn't planning on talking about this
forward
tonight, but
is the opening thing.
Luigi's Mansion is one of the first games I ever played on the GameCube, and I
such a distraction.
It in a long time ago. So I'm looking forward to playing it again. Do you mind? I'm trying to, like, you wanted me to do this. I got to do it my way, though. I can't. This is a...
You see it pop up again in a second. Where about now?
So one of the first games
there were a lot of
for the GameCube.
Like all of the screw ups from this are in that outtake video from Volume 1.
But it isn't all complete. So I'm looking forward
the
to
lights you're
seeing how it holds up
are the when you walk into the mansion for the first time and just let Luigi idle, just moving the flashlight back and forth. That's where that's coming from.
First got released. It was also one of the first games that I ever.
Also one of the last videos I did a lot of VO for. I haven't done much.
Definitely
VO
makes it one of the
for
big
revisits lately.
I've
I've done it for other videos and stuff I've produced, like the Harmony, smart home stuff, and
game.
Smart
Definitely
Things
defies
video.
expectation for what you think when you think of
There's
a
some
Nintendo
video in
game.
that, and the Video
At
Game
least in
World
the Mario
video.
Brothers
I don't know.
universe.
I'm just like
Mario Sunshine
I
was also
enjoy
kind of an experiment
doing
in
it
itself.
in
departing
front of
from
the
usual
camera for
platforming
some reason. I
experience
don't
that
know.
Mario
I just like have more
64
energy
offered,
when I do that.
Augmenting it with the water jetpack.
And it isn't
Just
like I'm
Luigi's
trying to make
Mansion,
it so it's
something
all on
totally
screen.
new
It's like
and
in my
unique,
head I
which is
know,
really
like,
awesome.
all right, I'm
They
gonna
released
talk
some
in front of the
game
camera,
console and
but
released some
what I'm
truly
talking
original
about will be
content for
voiceover.
when it came
It's
out.
weird. It sounds different though. Like
As the name implies, this
you
game
can tell
puts
that it's
Luigi
not
in the
VO.
protagonist role for the
but I
first
don't know,
time
it's just
since
what I
those
like.
really awfully designed educational games from the 90s. So it's good
game
to
is
see him
pretty
get
great.
a serious protagonistic role here.
I remember
We have to take Luigi through a haunted mansion.
people were like,
illuminating rooms.
I don't know, the impression of
all
this
to
game
rescue his
wasn't
brother from the clutches of
completely
King
positive. It wasn't
The
like
game has
negative,
excellent
but
atmosphere. Its
I
music
feel like it
kinda
has a good
reminds me of what
legacy
they did in
now.
Banjo-Kazooie,
Like the
where you'll
opinions
have like
have
a main
improved a lot
overture theme playing, but
since,
then when the environment changes, the music also
since
changes.
this game
It'll
came
go
out.
from playing this kind of
I
menacing
played this a
over
ton when I was a
theme.
kid. We
When you enter
bought
a
it
room
pretty
with
early
ghosts in
on,
it, the music dies
played
down.
it. I never
Instead,
beat
ghosts
it,
are kind of like
traded
humming the
it
song in
in,
the background.
I think
It's
I
pretty
bought it a
sweet.
second time
I
later
wouldn't say that
on.
the game is really scary.
Played the
though.
crap out of it.
It has
beat
great
it.
atmosphere.
Traded
it tries
it in,
to scare you with how
and
the
then
ghosts will
cut
appear.
to
They're kind of
15
like,
years
"Ooh,"
later,
like they kind
finally
of appear
managed to
really quickly. It
reacquire
makes
it.
Luigi
Because
jump.
like starting about
I guess if you weren't
6 or
expecting
so
it
years
might make
ago,
you jump the first couple
I don't do
times it
trade-ins
happens, but you definitely
anymore.
get
I
used
just
to
like
it.
to collect games and keep them.
So I wouldn't say that it's like scary.
I used to
remember
have
that
like
as a
over
kid, too. It
100
never really
PlayStation
scared
3
me, but I've
games.
always
And
appreciated
now I
its
have, like,
atmosphere. I think it does a great job of
15,
creating a sense
16,
of
20 maybe tops.
spooky haunted house.
And I regret that
cold
because you
vibe.
trade in games
It's very
and
well done.
I don't
for
have a
sure.
problem with like the value because I mean
Story
like
begins
businesses
with
in question
Luigi
have to make
on his
money
way
and there's
to
no
a
guarantee
mansion
that
he apparently
your
won in
copy
some
of
kind of
the
contest.
newest
that
Madden
he
is going to
didn't
sell
even enter,
anytime
by the
soon,
way.
so they gotta
Uh,
do what they can to
picturesque
protect their
dream
margins.
home looks
I just
pretty,
regret giving them
intimidating,
away.
but
It's
Luigi decides
simply
to brave
put.
ahead anyway. Mario
Because I get
apparently was
nostalgic
racing
here and
to
there,
get
and
here
it sucks to
first,
be like,
to
oh man, remember
celebrate
Luigi's
his
Mansion, and I
victory.
can't play it.
So here we go. Luigi
it's
enters the mansion.
So happy
and
to
the
get it
game
back
begins.
again.
So
Yeah,
with
this
the
screen.
basics
Letting this
established,
screen
we can
idle is what's on the
start the
live
game
view
here.
when it cuts back to me on
Starts you off in a
camera.
room. Luigi is kind of on his own. We can mess around with the controls a bit. The A button has Luigi call out to Mario.
The A button being the call to Mario is
This
stupid.
doesn't serve really any gameplay function, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, there's no point.
It's just what happens when you press the A button. But if you press the A button next to an object, Luigi will interact with it. And this is kind of how you test things
No
for
reason
secrets.
for that A button.
I
to-
shall get to explaining the value of that in a minute here. But then the B button controls our flashlight. We can turn it off and on with the B button. That's going to be an important mechanic for ghost hunting.
Yeah, I think I like
But
over-explain.
looking around this room,
And
there's not
again,
much
this
we can
is like
do.
a
It's
learning
only
process
until you
here.
try
So
to
like
open
the
up
Spider-Man
the top
video,
door that we
I'm
get our
like,
first
you
look
can punch, you can
into
kick,
the
you can
haunted
web, and it's like so
rooms of
fast.
this mansion.
Here, it's like I felt the need to like just dot every single little thing, which I guess there's some value in that if you haven't and will never play this game for yourself. You walk away like knowing a lot, but you know, like it, yeah. Just learn to be concise. This, I remember, I think it was McDonald's. There was like a McDonald's with a GameCube kiosk, and they
apparition
had
drops a
this
key.
part of this game in
This
there.
is one of the
was some
biggest
kinda like
gameplay
demo.
elements of Luigi's Mansion. Which
Like I
is
played it
getting
before I owned it
keys.
at this
As you
McDonald's for
explore
all
the
of
mansion,
10 minutes.
you're going to find
That's how I
locked
knew
rooms.
about the
You have to
key.
clear
I like
rooms
knew
to
from that
open
demo that
the
you're supposed to
key.
walk upstairs and try to open that
Works
door,
in
and that makes the
sequence.
key
It's
thing
actually more
appear
linear than you
afterwards.
think it is, which is kind of a bummer in retrospect. But
Get
we
the
got our first key, and we
keys.
can now unlock the room upstairs. Which,
At
by the way,
first,
if I
it's
saw a
very
ghost with a
linear.
Key like that, the first thing I would do is just leave this mansion. There's no way that I'm going to be taking that kind of
And then it
bait.
starts to become a
But
little more
we don't have a
spread
choice
out when you get to
in this
area
game.
3 and 4.
As we enter this
This
mysterious
is like Mickey
locked
Mouse
room,
gloves.
we get a nice little cutscene that advances the story some.
You're crazy if you don't skip those every time. It plays
I don't
those
think
every
Luigi's
time you
moving
open up
here, by the way. I
doors for
think
the
it's just
first
clever
time.
camera work. Either way, Luigi is predictably ambushed by a ghost. I mean, it like baited him up there with the key. But he is saved by a new character for the Mario Universe franchise.
Professor
This is Professor Egad.
He also had a role in Mario Party 6. He had his own little board on that
he's
one.
a aging but veteran ghost hunter who uses a vacuum to catch ghosts. So Ghostbusters had an unlicensed nuclear accelerator. This guy has a powerful vacuum. So it's a cute little riff on the
I don't have a
formula, I
Nintendo Switch yet,
suppose.
so I haven't got a chance
He
to
introduces
play the
himself
new
to
one,
Luigi,
new Luigi's
and the
Mansion.
two retreat back to
Nor did I
Professor
get the one
Egad's
for
laboratory.
3DS. So I've been missing out on what the two sequels to this game. We gotta get out of here. Post haste.
Upon retreating back to Professor Egad's lab, we get some more details about the mansion and Mario's whereabouts. Professor Egad notes that the mansion just
So I
sporadically
think I
appeared
talked
recently.
about it. I've never
So
really
it's definitely a trap.
fully
set for
understood
ghosts.
what the
and
C
Mario
stick
had
is used
ventured in
for,
before
if
Luigi
at all,
arrived and is now
in the
missing.
ghost wrangling
Professor
process
Egad
in this
gives Luigi
game.
the ghost vacuum.
Because, like, I don't know,
effectively
there's
passing the
times
mantle of
where
ghost hunter from
the
himself to
ghost's
his
hearts
new
drain
protege.
instantly,
And this is
and
where we
there's
can now
times where
start
they
to
just
mess
kind
around
of
with the
peter
real
down,
way the game
and
is
I really
played.
don't know
The
what I'm
ghost
doing
hunting
differently
mechanic.
to, like,
Messing around with the
make
tutorial
it
is where I
work.
start to try to
I
figure
don't
out
know, I
how
could
I
never
can best
figure it out.
label what kind of game this is. Is it an action game? Is it an adventure game? Is it an open world exploration game? Is it a fishing game? Yes, to pretty much all that. It's a ghost
Fishing
hunting
game. Yes,
And
it is
to me,
indeed
that
a
kinda
game where you
translates as
fish.
fishing. If I was gonna give it some kind of raw genre assignment, but this is where like I don't completely understand how you're supposed to catch the ghosts. So it's all about like tilting the control stick in a direction to
here's what I
wrangle them.
explained.
You want
Yeah,
to pull
it's
pretty much
weird.
in the opposite direction of the ghosts.
It tends to be more of an
I'm
issue
not
with
sure
the
if
stronger
system
ghosts.
is
Maybe,
part of it,
maybe
so,
that's also
like,
part
I
of
think
it.
The tutorial just wants me
Tilt
to
the control
move
stick.
the stick a little
Like,
bit and just kind of push and pull and give it a hit.
You're supposed to like really, you're supposed to jerk it around. Like I don't know. He says tilt, but like you want to be like, "Hurrah! Like I don't know.
It's pretty simple. You just
Doesn't
basically
really tell
surprise
you.
a ghost with the flashlight by turning it on right in their face. That reveals their heart, and you can then
Take 'em
engage
out.
the vacuum and start to catch the ghosts. I wonder if that'll.
Here's our first bit.
Let's try something here.
Trying to vacuum the nun. We did a lot of takes of that one. A couple of different slaps and a jokey
Well, that
kung
didn't go
fu
according
thing.
to plan. Then again, what did I expect?
I think a couple of those are in the at
Moving on.
least one of them is in the gag reel. I know that the
All
kung
right,
fu
we
one is.
venture back into the mansion, now armed.
But that was a
with
real
the
slap,
ghost
by the way.
hunting
That was not an
vacuum.
effect. That
We
was
can
that
now
was for
turn
real.
the tables on those
Or wait, no,
pesky
sorry.
poltergeists.
There is a slapping
We start
sound,
off in what's referred
but
to
he
as
did hit me
Area
for real.
1, which is
Because
the
like
upper
it's like the
floor
Metroid
where
thing.
Luigi
Like
first
I don't
ventured
see
into
the
when
reason
he was
to
a pet,
fake that.
but
It's
now
like
we
so
can turn the
simple
tables
and
on
of
these
no
ghosts.
consequence. Like I'm
Area
not being
1
filmed
is
from
very
that side,
simple.
so even if we
Kinda
did like
like
10
a
takes, you're not going
tutorial
to see my red
area,
face.
getting used to the concept.
But I did
control.
add a slap
We're
sound
just
because it's
moving
hard to
room to
hear.
room, catching the ghosts as we go. But things start to change up once we get into the second half.
We must
of
have
this area.
filmed like
The first half of Area 1 is very
was like over a
easy.
week
It's just
of,
a
like,
straight
shooting
path. You're
every
just
day.
learning the basics. It's in tutorial mode.
always at
essentially.
nighttime.
Enter the room,
Including
clear it,
like
get
this
the
right
key,
here. Like this is
move
at nighttime
forward.
too.
The second
I
half of
I
Area
can't
1
really
is
get
where
it
things get a lot
enough
more interesting.
during the
This
day.
is
The
where
way the
game
sun comes
introduces
in,
the
like it's just
portrait
not
of ghosts.
possible to
The whole idea of this is that
turn
Professor
everything
Egad,
off and fake it.
accomplished ghost hunter
so
and
we filmed
researcher,
pretty much
had a
exclusively
collection
at
of
like
captured
7 p.m. and
ghosts
forward.
that were stored in the form of paintings. They all got released by King Boo and his band.
Couple of
and
them
they
I did
are
at like
running
6
around
a.m.
the mansion.
actually.
You'll find them in many of the
I
rooms.
think it was more toward the end though.
The portrait
the
ghosts
closing
don't work
out.
like normal ghosts. You can't just simply flash the light and then capture them. Rather, specific little conditions have to be met for the portrait ghosts.
Yeah, the portrait
to
ghosts are
reveal
pretty
their
cool.
heart,
Like
which
the
then makes them
first,
vulnerable.
I said
It's
goats.
like little micro
The
puzzles,
first couple that
basically.
you come across.
You can use the Game Boy horror
like
device
that
to
one
scan them.
It's
and
pretty
get,
cool.
Like, a clue
This guy used to
as
have to
to how
wait.
to reveal
Like
their
I wish
heart.
there were more.
Sometimes they're clues, sometimes they're not.
More
though.
complicated
Sometimes it's just like the
methods to
ghost
catching
saying,
them.
"Oh,
It's
who's this
usually
guy in the room
very
right now?"
simple.
Other times it just literally tells you what to do. It just depends. But
Like,
solve the little micro
there's
puzzle.
like a grandma
get them to reveal
nanny
their heart,
thing,
and then you
and
can
like
capture
you
them.
have to like
All
hit
of
her
the
in the
portrait
face
ghosts
with
always
yarn
have
balls.
100 HP, which puts
There's like a
them
little
well
girl that
above
you have to
and
spray
beyond any of the
water on
normal
to make her
ghosts
think that
you've been encountering
she
so
wet the
far.
bed and it makes her freak out.
So there we go. Some of them are optional too.
There's like a bodybuilder guy. You have to like knock a sleeping bag or a punching bag into a sleeping bag. You have to knock the punching bag into him. Like they've all got some step, but like none of them are like, oh, this is a puzzle.
The gameplay and keep it
I think that they could have done a little more with that.
Regular ghosts. Aside from ghosts,
Most of them are
hunting,
required,
The other
only
big
a
part of
couple
this
are
game
optional.
is something you might not expect. and
But like
that's
the way the
collecting
game is
treasure.
presented, like you're never gonna
Interacting
not
with
catch the
objects
optional
within
ones.
rooms
Like they're
will
always in your
reveal
path.
Treasure.
don't even know why these
Coins,
bothered.
bills, gemstones, all can be collected and accumulate a high score, which determines one little minor.
Yeah, I
factor
missed out on
in
the
ending.
treasure plant
But you want
when I
to?
was
It's
playing.
fun. It's fun. It's fun.
Which
to
is
collect.
funny 'cause I know about it.
It feels
I
good.
watered it the first
I gotta
time
say, I feel
around.
motivated to get as
Forgot
much
to
as
come
possible.
back after Area 3 was done.
It's an interesting little mechanic because
missed
high
out.
scores haven't been something that people really care about in games for a long time. For me, I feel like the idea of a high score like mattering died with the arcades. So for this game to have what is essentially just a high score mechanic but make it feel fun is really cool.
Yeah, it is
The
fun to collect
portrait
treasure.
ghosts
You
that
do find
wind
yourself
up
doing
catching
it.
will also reveal
Even if you don't give a
unique
crap
kind of
about a high
treasure,
score, like you still
called
like want
pearls.
to collect it all.
So there's treasure to be had all
You're
over
like,
the place.
"Give it to
and
me."
some of it's hidden There are a couple different secret treasure rooms that you can find, and there are even treasure ghosts that are hidden in certain rooms, and they get revealed when you interact
Treasure
with the
ghosts are
object.
fun. I
You
remember
catch them, and they
deliberately
just, like,
seeking out a couple of them when I was
explode
doing
with
capture
all
for
kinds of
this to
goodies,
see.
when you successfully capture
That's
them.
the first one
But
you
they're
get
very
right
quick.
in the
You have to have
beginning.
lightning reflexes to catch them, which
But,
makes it feel even more rewarding.
there are
So
many.
I do like the
Some
treasure
only
mechanic,
appear during the
and that has
blackout.
continued in the
like
Luigi's
one or
Mansion
two.
franchise since. Every game has that, which is really awesome. Now we're up to the first boss fight, which is against this ghost baby.
But he's dumb. I hate
and I
this
gotta
boss
say,
fight. It's terrible.
it's boring. It's just boring. This boss fight's too easy. You can pretty much just stand still for most of
Yeah,
it.
it's real easy.
It sucks. To be completely frank, bit of a
I can imagine like someone like
yeah, he just kind of like
showing this to their
messes
boss
around
and being
does
like, "Look
rocking
what I made!
chairs,
It's like this
fly at
crazy
you, rocking
crib, and
horses,
it's a
whatever.
baby boss, and he throws
Bouncy
rocking
balls,
horses
you
at
You
you."
get the bouncy ball and you hit him with it, and then you can.
Did I
suck
do
him
a
up.
good job?
You can do it in one. You can do it in like 2 or 3 phases. But it's
I remember doing really good one
Not a
time
good
way
start
back in
for
the
the boss
past, and I
fights.
did like
The
half,
good news
like
is the
more
rest
than
of
half
them
of his
really
health in the
are a
first
lot
phase.
this
I got
one's
really
just not
close
that
there.
great. But there we go. We beat the first boss.
But it was tough for
We get
this.
the
I think it's
boss
gonna be
key.
three rounds at
Boss
least
key will
on
give
that
us
capture.
access to the next area
Same
of
thing
the
for the
mansion.
second boss,
Before we
Bogmire.
do
Like I
that,
remember
we get to see
doing a
what
couple
happens
rounds
to
with
the
him
torture
that
ghosts
like
we
went really
captured
well
so
when I
far.
was younger, and then here it didn't really work out that way.
EGAD is gonna convert the ghosts back.
Yeah,
into
this is
paintings
torture.
again.
Like you see the
It
process they
looks
go through. They get like
horrifying,
smashed,
and
and
a torturous
shocked, and
process
mixed
to
in
go
this
through.
thing, and then they get
Understand,
pressed, and heat
why these
turns
ghosts
on.
wanted to be freed.
No wonder.
Because that looks awful. But there we go. After you beat a boss, you get kind of a summary of what you did in the game
get
so
our
far.
high
We get to see the
scores.
ghosts we've captured. We get to see the treasure we've collected. It's kind of like a high score. You get the whole summary, and then we can move on.
Gotta get those precious gems.
Area 2 opens things up considerably. It's not as on the path as Area 1 is. We can explore a little more
They
widely,
got a lot of different takes of that.
which I really like.
Talking
This is
about
where the
the
game really
Area
starts
2
to
stuff.
get going. We kind of have our formula in place. Explore rooms, catch the
One
ghosts,
thing I've
get
gotten
the
better
keys,
at
but Area
that I
2
know I
just
still
takes
did
that
on
and
this
makes it
video
harder.
is
We get more portrait ghosts.
I try to
and
like
the
sit
methods
there
for
and do
capturing
like a
them are
5
definitely
minute
more
take
complicated than Area 1.
and
There's
like
a lot
make
of
it all
different little
work.
conditions need to be met for some of
Nowadays,
these. And this is the first area
I'm
to
really-
introduce
I'm better
optional
at,
portrait ghosts. Not
doing
all of
something
them are
similar,
required.
but like
Some
knowing that
will
I'm
reward
gonna
you with treasure,
stop
others
and like
reward
be
you
like,
with
all right, I'm gonna
keys.
talk about this thing
area
for 30
has
seconds
the
and then
first
stop.
optional
And then I'm gonna talk
portrait
about this
ghost,
thing for
Mr.
30 seconds and
Luggs,
stop.
which is a-
Whereas before, I'm trying to like get like all this information out in one clean
but you don't
shot.
have to catch it.
And
Of
if I
course you
get
want to. It's
4 minutes
game
in and I
catch it.
screw it up, I start
But
all
it's
over
neat,
again.
and some of them are
I
optional.
remember having I did that a lot in the past. I don't do it much anymore.
Not everything
Again,
is
you'd be
immediate
surprised
obstacle.
if you started your own little production thing
We get
here.
to this room here after
lot that you
going
learn.
through this ballroom. I got stuck here as a kid. I remember this.
I
very
did get stuck
vividly.
here as a kid.
I didn't
It
know
seems
what to
really
do. I get
obvious
in
as
this
an
room,
adult. You look at
caught
that
the
mirror and
ghost,
you can
the
see the
lights
button you
came
gotta
on,
press like
and
right
I'm just
away.
kinda
It's
like,
right there. Look at it.
What now? I feel like I'm
Look at it.
There's nowhere else to explore.
But as a
It's
kid,
gotta
it
be
stumped me.
here.
I was like,
Well,
oh, what the heck? Where'd I go? What
It's
do I do?
plain as day. If you just pay attention, you can see in the mirror that there's a button you can press. Press the button, and the room extends.
I remember thinking it was so cool. I was like, oh, look what I did! I advanced the game! Oh! It's weird. I got stuck in Luigi's Mansion.
Now
and I
that
was
the
able
room
to
is
beat
extended,
Metroid Prime.
we can
like, no
pull this
problem.
poster off the wall, and there's a big old button on the wall. You probably should press that. It's a haunted, spooky mansion.
Press the
full of
button.
Ghosts. Big red button with the boo poster on it. Press it.
I never really quite understood what's happening here. Like, the boos...
So pressing the button has awoken the boos.
They were sleeping in
the boos
here?
are from like
why would they go to
preceding Mario
sleep?
Brothers games.
They captured Mario and they knew
I wanna
Luigi was
say
coming and they're
Mario
like,
Bros. 3 when
ah,
it first came in.
let him roam around the
Mario-
mansion.
Super Mario World.
We'll
is
just
where,
take a
like,
nap.
They're really known for. But here they are, so it's kind of cool to see them get a 3D adaptation that's true to their original design. Mario Sunshine did something a little different with them that I'm not really that much of a fan of.
Yeah, I don't like the
but
Mario
this
Sunshine
is
boos
more
at all. They're
true form.
terrible. I hate 'em.
So here's our plot. So we got
like weird
King Boo.
looking-
He's running the mansion.
I was
Now,
glad
the
that this
game-
game's a little
the
more
game really
traditional.
shifts here. So now we got a new element in the formula. Before,
Yeah, so
we're
now you
catching
gotta catch the
ghosts to illuminate
boos
rooms,
and
get keys, go to the next room, rinse and
you
repeat
want to
until
catch
you
them
get
all
Now,
because that's how you
there's a
get
new-
the
a
little
new
gem at
portion.
the end of the game
When you
that's
clear a room
unique
and
for
the lights
beating
turn
all the
on,
boos.
There's a boo hiding somewhere. You have to interact with the right piece of furniture to force the boo out and then catch him. Catching boos is a little different than catching the regular ghosts. You don't like lock onto them. They're not like on your
Yeah, it's
fishing
really
line
weird.
as you're pulling them in. Rather, you kind of have to keep aimed at them. So it's a
It gets so
combination of
frustrating
using the
toward the
control
end.
stick
They'll
to
have,
move,
they'll have like 300 plus
laterally,
health. It's awful.
And the C stick to control
They
where
leave the
you're
rooms
aiming.
and oh god.
So now we can start really
Bad
catching
memories.
boos. This is where you start to go from ghost hunter to more like an exterminator. These things are like pests. They can be really annoying when you go to catch them.
My purple jacket.
What are you doing with that? Take that off. Give it. Give it. Get. Unbelievable. Area 2
So it's like he
also
goes from
introduces the
Menace that I'm like,
expulsion
no,
system.
wait, stop.
We
He goes from
acquire
that
a
to like
fire
a,
element
just a pest.
medallion in one of the
give me the
rooms in Area
jacket.
2, and we can use this to capture little unique fire spirits that allow the Poltergeist 3000 to become a flamethrower, which you can use to interact with objects like, say, lighting
I
candles.
did a lot of takes of that.
or
Going back to the
using
conversation
it
about
to
like
force
talking for 5
certain
minutes
elemental
straight.
ghosts to reveal their hearts to you.
Because like this was
like
one
an
that I
ice
had trouble
ghost, for
with too.
example. Fire on ice makes a target revealed. We also get the water element shortly thereafter. Water
Come
allows
so
you to
far.
douse flames and again affect fire.
See, I think that the Spider-Man video that I just put out, I think that that's like the
you can water certain plants
superior
to get
version
treasure.
to
There's
this.
also
Because the
a
Spider-Man
unique
video
one
is
that you can
shorter,
water in between every act
A,
of the game, and it ends
and
with
like B,
giving
it
you
gives
a
across
huge
like
treasure
so much
trove.
more information
I never knew that
in the
as a
same
kid,
time
so
frame.
Passing on the word now to anyone that wants to
Still have a couple of funny bits in it, you
Water
know, like
this
it's
plant.
everything that this video is, but
We
better.
now find ourselves up
I feel
to
like I
the
really
Area
learned and
2 boss,
improved.
Bogmire. This boss fight is a
Still
lot
like this
better
one.
than the first one.
Up until the
It's
Spider-Man
not-
one, I kind of
it's
consider
the
this
same
one the
level of
best.
complexity. It's a very simple boss fight,
this
but
one
just
or
the way that
Kirby,
it's
maybe.
executed makes it way more
Just
interesting.
because
and
of how
fun.
they're structured.
Bogmire appears. He casts a shadow.
Because like this is
and
more the
out of
template
tip
that
of his
I kind of
shadow
want to do these
grows a
videos
little
with.
ooze clone
A lot of
of
stuff.
himself.
It takes you through
You
the
can
whole
suck up
game.
the ooze clone,
If
but
I
it
can
won't
think
get
of
sucked into the
jokes
vacuum,
or
rather it
entertaining
kinda
bits, I'll
blocks
do it.
You can then hold it and then
But
shoot it at
you go through the
Bogmire
whole
to
game
coat him
and
in his
whatnot.
own
Like I feel like that's
sludge,
what I want to do.
which makes him
Because like the
vulnerable, and you can now
Godzilla
attempt to capture
Save
him.
the Earth video
You cannot
doesn't really
do
do
it very
that.
easily, though.
And,
He fights it really hard.
Action replay is just kind of like random
I never
fun.
wrangled him for more than like 2 seconds.
The Gex video did that. It was shorter than
4
this,
seconds at the most.
but there's
Throws you off
no
really
bits,
fast.
there's no jokes, there's no.
But it's really cool. I like
There's
this
nothing, like,
boss
really
fight a lot
special
more
in
than the
that
first
video.
one. This is more the energy that I was
Except for like my
hoping to get
rant
from
about the
a
game over thing, I guess.
creative ghost battle.
But nothing really
it's
else.
Hectic. It's cool. There's like lightning striking.
Get him! Get him!
I
Yeah!
like this one.
Yeah, that boss fight was pretty good.
As we move into Area 3, I do want to go ahead and throw out a spoiler warning, because I am going to go all the way through to the end of the game. So
Spoiler
you have
warning.
been warned.
You know,
Something really kind of
I'm a nice guy, so I'll give spoiler
And
warnings
that's
even if the game is
importance of
30 years old. But like,
bathrooms and toilets in this game's
I don't know why I do that
so
because
many
like
bathrooms in this game.
I feel like there's a certain
contain
amount of time
keys,
where you lose the
a portrait
privilege of a
ghost,
spoiler warning.
or a character to talk
Um,
to, or
Great
a
example is the
tutorial
last
event.
Avengers movie. It was
I
like
noticed this
they had that
when I went
campaign
into the
about
backyard of the mansion, which is
don't
the
spoil
beginning
it
of Area
until
3.
this
There's a
date. So
toad
it's like,
hiding
oh
out
well,
in
if
the
you didn't see
outhouse,
it by
and he
this
tells you to
date,
check
well,
down
who
inside the
cares?
well. Just made me
Spoiled.
think, man, bathrooms are
I feel like if the
important
game
to
is
this story.
so old,
You
I just
see,
feel like
in this
you
game,
lost the right.
bathrooms move the plot forward.
Are you serious? Like you...
That was like the really dramatic one. We did one where it was like a lot more calm.
The big highlight
And then
to
we
this
did like
area,
let's
though,
just
is
just
this
for
well.
fun. Let's like take it to
We go down
level
the
11.
well, and we get to see
that's what
something
that was.
really spooky.
That happens a lot. We'll do these takes, and I'll be like, all right, let's do it this way, the right way, the way that I envision it being taken seriously, or like just whatever. Like I think this is how it should be, and we do it, and then we're like, all right, how would you one take where just no one gives a
found Mario.
care in the world.
And King Boo.
Like let's just not give a crap and do a take, and it's just like like being completely not serious at all, and just like letting it go full on comedy, and it's like that actually worked out better.
I remember really solidly as a kid.
That happened once with the
and that's the twins.
Spider-Man thing.
These little guys challenge you to a game of hide and seek.
God, this.
You're
So this is the truth. So I remember having to do this like 5 million times when I was younger, because I'm too stupid to realize that you can just use the vacuum to figure out which boxes they're in. Because they accuse you of cheating no matter what. It doesn't matter. They call you a cheater no matter what. I always did it straight up. I tried to like actually guess, and of course you fail because you got like what 6 boxes here, so you got 2 in 6 chance to find them.
Which ones they're hiding in by using the vacuum to interact with them.
But now it's like,
you of cheating.
Use the vacuum.
They do that no matter
you
what.
moron.
So
you have the tool.
You're just like supposed to use the vacuum to cheat, basically. I never did that when I was younger.
Things you learn.
It's just like one of those things. Like, you know, you're not as aware of what's going on in a game when you're really young, I guess. And as an adult, you have better perspective. So you're just like, okay, I know what to do immediately with the tools.
Yeah, it's an interesting like phenomenon that I've noticed with myself because I continue to play games now that I played when I was younger.
Come in with more knowledge.
If anyone else has experienced that, I'd like to know in what case, because that's one for me.
With what it provides you.
After making it up to the 3rd
Boo
attic,
losses.
we find ourselves on the
This
outer
boss fight was also
balcony
pretty
of the
frustrating.
mansion, and this is
That last
where
little
the
Boo
3rd boss fight
avoiding
occurs.
the ice blast.
The boss is called Boolossus, which is
Some pretty cool like speedrun videos I've seen of this fight where they can manipulate it so that all of them freeze pretty much together. Like you can do it like 1 round or 2 rounds at the most. Something like that. I have a vague memory of this. I might be wrong, but I recall seeing a video where they start them off on the right side, they bring them left, and like something weird happens, and like they're all just frozen on the ground in like a line. And he just sucks them all up.
Ice spread.
I've mentioned it many times across my Just Playing videos and some of these commentary videos. I do enjoy watching a lot of video game speedruns of the games that I personally enjoy. Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine, Mario 64, Metroid Prime, etc., etc., etc. So
this one unlocks the door.
I wouldn't say that I'm part of any community, or I don't do runs myself. I'm just like a fan of watching them. Pretty cool stuff.
But when you go to open it, lightning strikes.
The power outage. This part's pretty cool because it's like, ooh,
so now
got more stuff
all
going
the lights
on
are off, even in the
than
room
the
you've
usual.
already cleared. Ghost spawn rates significantly increase. This is
Yeah, fight 'em out.
favorite part of the game.
This is the first time that I started to fight them all on this area. I would always run away when I was younger, but here I was like, alright, let's see what we can do. That guy drags me so far.
But with, you know, enough skill and determination,
Those earthquake
you can
ones are
conquer
pretty
rooms.
tough.
But even if you catch all the ghosts,
There's a thing that I didn't talk about in this
it's just a
video.
gauntlet to go
A great mechanic you can take advantage of in this game is when you use the elements on ghosts, it makes them like, and like they drain health. And I killed, quote unquote, so many of those big blue smashing ghosts with that technique. You just blast them with an element, let them burn.
Don't appear otherwise. They only appear during this power outage. Getting to them though is tough because again the ghosts are spawning more frequently. They're more aggressive. There's more of them. So it makes it pretty fun. So it's like you're going for treasure now, but there's more risk, which is why I like it though. It feels more rewarding now, even more rewarding than normal to get this treasure.
I wish that more of the game was like this sequence. It was like harder. There's more ghosts. The lights aren't turning on, making you feel safe. You know, you're always on your toes. I wish that more of the game was like that. It could have been like a real pseudo horror classic if it was like that.
Now that we've resolved the power
or like if there was a hard
situation,
mode where the lights never come on, for example.
Final area
Just an
for
idea.
real this time. Things are gonna start picking up with this.
Here we go.
Definitely.
Here comes my
It's getting a lot
co-host.
harder. Can you? Oh, you menace! You just can't leave it alone. Okay. Now
It's
we're
really
in the
hard
game's
to
final area, which is a
try to
mixture
be
of the
serious with
attic
that next to
and
you.
the basement.
You have no
Things
idea.
definitely are getting harder, and the boos have more HP.
Yeah,
The thing that I don't like about the 4th area is that it's a mixture of the attic and the basement. down to the basement isn't the issue because you can use the mirror fast travel thing, but you have to go back up a lot. And you go through like multiple floors and
needed
staircases.
it. They
They're
should have
not
done like some
connected.
kind
It's
of
two different
vertical
staircases. It's
fast
such a
travel
waste of my
thing.
time.
This is Donald. It says Donald Duck
Explore the attic in
voice.
the basement.
The
Wrap
first
up the
line.
last of the game's objectives, catching
He does a
portrait
pretty good.
ghosts,
He does a
catching the
pretty
last
good
of
Donald
the
Duck.
booze,
I would say he's
gradually
very
working our
good
way
actually.
toward King Boo's
He's been
lair,
doing that ever
saw
since I was a
earlier
little
in the
kid.
bottom of the well.
Silly
But
voice.
after enough messing around, it's time to take on the very last portrait ghost.
Vincent Van Gogh.
So now we're up to the last portrait ghost, Vincent Van Gogh. It's a dumb pun, by the way. Why isn't it ghoul? He's a ghost. Gore? What is he? Does he impale people? Probably not. It should have been Vincent Van Gogh, is the point. But here we
Yeah,
go.
I think it should have been Vincent Van Gogh for like
Vincent
legit,
Van
like
Gogh
straight up.
is the
That,
only
like why? That's
portrait
the
ghost
obvious
that really
thing, isn't it?
feels like some kind of boss
It's not
encounter.
bad to be obvious. Like it's a pun. It's a pun no matter what. Like pick the one that's ghost themed, Vincent Van Gogh, because he's a ghost. Like come on. This fight's also like a mixture of being like really too easy and also kind of just tedious, because like you can like multi-kill these ghosts very easily, with the exception of the blue ones. I just use the element thing on them. But it's just like they're not hard. Like none of these are hard.
Bruiser ghosts that do the shockwaves, only because they're the ones that fight you the most when you try to suck them up. But
He
just
doesn't even
defeat
do
every
anything, he
wave,
just stands
and
there.
we're good to go to catch Vincent himself.
That was originally an outtake,
All right,
and
that was the last
I thought that
portrait
it would
ghost.
work if it was
so
in
that
there
leaves
legit.
only a
Vincent,
single
run!
boo left. Now this is one of the boos that has like 300 health, so this is probably gonna take a while. Their HP drains pretty quick, but I'm sure with that much
Yeah,
HP,
this was a
he's gonna want to transition
super
between-
frustrating thing. This, like, a couple of these boos would just do this nonstop. You come out in the hallway, the cutscene thing plays, wasting your time. You just immediately leave the hallway.
There we go. Why isn't it? It doesn't even lock
Sucks.
on sometimes, which is really annoying. Oh, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him.
Really sucks. And then he goes
Someone
away.
goes at the hallway again. Going in the hallways is such a waste. They don't even stay.
So
in the
he wasn't
hallway
being
more than
told to
2
do anything
seconds.
specific.
So all that's
Like, I
happening
have
is
my
I go in the
lines that I know
hallway,
I'm gonna
he
say and talk
tackles
about,
at
but
me and then
he-
runs right back into the rooms. Go back into the room.
With a couple like
Take him again,
specific
it
things,
won't
like he
lock
really
on.
wasn't doing
I don't know what
anything
I'm
that
doing
was
wrong
in
in
a
that regard.
script or
Goes
whatever.
back out in the hallway
Which is
again.
why it was like so hard for me to
Some
do it.
Cackles a bit.
Because I'm
goes
like
back
trying
in
to,
the other
I'm trying to
room,
do my thing, and like
driving
he's
me
doing his
insane.
own thing, and I'm like getting
If you
thrown
only
off
have
by some of the
50
things that he
health, it
does.
wouldn't be that bad, but they have 300 at this stage. It's just a war of attrition. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it though.
Oh, get him, get him, get him! It's the last one.
We got him. Got him.
You like see us.
Now that the last
Deck.
boo was dealt with, we can beat the game on TikTok.
I didn't even have the. That wasn't even on purpose. The Spider-Man
All
costume
the
didn't have any
portrait
gloves
ghosts and
either,
all the
and it was like
boos.
they were
It's time
separate.
for the final battle
So I'm
against
always
King
like embracing the
Boo.
fact that I have zero
King
budget.
Boo hides himself down in the lowest point.
All right,
in
here
the
we
mansion.
go.
You have to
The
meet
finale.
a
I remember
certain
this
number
taking
of
me a
boos
couple tries when I
captured
was a
to
kid,
even
but
challenge him. Not a
I
problem for me,
steamrolled
though,
him
because I've caught
for
them
this
all now.
video.
But now we can engage the final
It's not that
battle.
hard.
The final battle against King Boo is probably the most difficult one in the game. King Boo summons a giant mechanical Bowser that he uses to throw.
You get told that Bowser's in the game by this
balls
fortune
around the
teller
room.
ghost.
He also breathes fire and just charges toward you. And
She
even though
like
Luigi's
prophesizes
agility
that
is
Bowser is
limited in
here.
This game, it makes it kind
And
of challenging.
then
so you
this
really
is
have
it.
to
He's a
position
giant
yourself the right way
mecha
before you
Bowser,
attack.
even though
What you have to do
he's not
is
mechanical. He
suck
doesn't look
up
like he is, at
and
least.
throw back the giant
His head
mines
pops
that he
off and has like a
throws,
hinge, but that's
to
about
hit
it.
Bowser in the head, which causes the head to
It's
pop
the
off.
perfect
It'll
android
fly around and
Bowser.
still shoot at you. Be careful. King Boo will flutter out. And you can
He like comes out all like
He has
jerky, like
500 health.
when he comes like he's been hurt. I think it's a nice little. If it's on purpose, I think it's great. I don't know. Maybe it isn't.
But just focus.
I just think it's
don't
funny.
Get too relaxed because you can get surprised pretty quick. Like I said.
Yeah, that
position
can
is
happen.
key
You can
with
get,
how this
like,
Bowser thing
cornered.
moves around. Don't get yourself cornered. But
You gotta be careful,
going,
but otherwise it's pretty
eventually
easy.
capture King Boo.
And with that, King Boo defeated. You know, that was a lot easier than I remember it being. When I was a kid, I do recall it took me like 5+
watching what he
attempts to
does.
beat this, but because I am in fact the best, got it locked down. And now we can check out the ending. Mario has finally been rescued.
Mario gets turned into a painting a lot in this franchise.
The game ends with Egad turning the last of the portrait ghosts back into paintings, including King Boo.
And then Mario
He
goes
also
through
turns
backwards.
Mario back into
Poor
his
guy.
normal self again, effectively running him through the process of the painting transformation, just in reverse, which again looks horrible and painful. Then we are given our last summary screen that shows us our final tally of
Mario
treasure,
looked pretty good in
and
that
the
game. Like
gives
that
us
was one of the first
rating.
times we're seeing him
Basically,
in like the
Luigi
new
gets to keep
generation
his money. It's
graphics
not
for the
fake or
system. He
anything.
looks pretty good.
The mansion itself was, but the treasure.
I want to say that I saw this
Invest
before I
this
played
in
Mario
his
Sunshine.
own
I'm pretty
actual
sure.
dream mansion. And
For the first time, at
size
least.
of the mansion
Well,
comes with a rating.
yeah,
So
no.
it tells you how much of the treasure you got, basically. I got a B,
I don't remember.
which isn't the best. Or maybe
I don't
it is.
recall that
B
I
is
had
the
Mario
best.
Sunshine
I
right
am
at the
the best.
get-go of owning a GameCube.
But
I
could've
know it
got
was
a
pretty
higher
early,
rating,
but I
I did
think
pretty
we
good,
had
though.
Luigi's
That's
Mansion
kind of
first.
surprised. So you really got to scrounge around for all the treasure possible if you want to get that highest rating, I guess.
We had Smash Bros. Melee and
I'm surprised I didn't
Star
get a higher
Fox
score though.
Adventures.
I went out of my way to
Like the
collect
first
as
two.
many of those treasure ghosts as possible. I know that I missed the watering plant thing. But hey, still beat the game. Not as hard as I remember it being. But yeah, you know, I'm the winner.
There's like a goof in this where like he was supposed to get up at a certain point, and I'm like tapping his leg and he didn't get up, and I keep talking and I keep tapping his leg because it's the symbol for him to leave. Like he didn't do it.
Oh wait, hold on a second.
Oh man,
It's been really weird.
I got more
It did invade
collectibles
my
up there
home,
now. I got that
so,
Godzilla Monopoly
you know,
game and
I hate you.
some
But
other stuff.
it's been fun. We've been through a lot. So, you know, after all that, here's wishing you a good time.
Okay, that slap was all the real sound.
That's all, folks.
Surround sound. Door closing on this side.
All right, goodbye.
Okay, this was like 6 a.m.
What is going
Yeah,
on?
this was like 6 a.m. one morning. I like redid this whole thing.
Start getting things.
It was almost different, and then I got reshot at the last minute.
Oh. Okay. Well, I guess the curse has been lifted. Well, this has been a weird night. Definitely fun to revisit Luigi's Mansion, though.
You can tell
holds
it's
up really well.
early.
Definitely not perfect. There
The
were a lot
shiny
of
nose
nuances
of
in it,
post-shower.
like I never really totally understood how you're supposed to catch the ghosts, at least like
Do a lot of
the
shoots early in the day like that.
intended way.
I'm an early
Of course,
riser, what can I say?
messing with the
Oh, that's the
controller
grandma I
with the
mentioned
maniac.
earlier.
That seemed to work most of the time, but there were times where it didn't seem to work. So wasn't totally sure,
Sounds
but it was still
crazy.
interesting. Never really liked having to go between the basement and the attic. There's a fast travel method to go down, but there should.
The longer I shoot, the more
like an
jacked up
elevator
that
maybe to
quilt
take you up. I
thing
mean, it is
gets.
like a
It's all like
four-story
crunched
house.
up behind me now.
And it's, you know, it's got millions of dollars.
That's
worth
why I
of
took
stuff
it out of
that
most of
you
the
think
stuff
that
I
would be
shot
some
for
kind
Volume
of little
2.
Basic elevator.
It's only in a couple episodes.
Yeah.
It's
only
probably
little
gonna, it's
complaint
probably
is that
gonna
it was
come
too
back,
easy.
to be honest. I think it just adds a little bit of charm to the whole room.
It was a lot harder when I was a kid, but you know, I was a kid. I'm not good at video games when I was a kid. I struggled with like every game that I owned that was like this.
true.
At least at first.
Very
I
true.
remember getting stuck
I was
in this
bad
game
at video
in
games
that,
as a child.
that storage room after the ballroom, where you had to press the button to release the booze.
Yeah.
I got stuck there, and I put the game down for almost 2 years, and then I came back to it, and I ended up going through it.
Yeah, I remember
still had trouble
we
with
got
certain
rid of
boss
it. I
fights,
traded
like
it in.
the final one.
And then I came back
but
to it. It
after
was
coming
like I
back
got
to
my
it, got
eyes
better.
dilated that day.
That was like
Went to
15 years ago.
GameStop.
It's
It was
been
like
a
right
while.
next door
So
to
there's
the
certain things I remembered,
optometrist.
certain things that I was
They had
like,
Luigi's
I remember
Mansion.
this.
I'm
This
sure it
is
was
interesting.
cheap back then.
Yeah. Held up really well. It has great atmosphere.
and
I like the way the
played
story
it
is
like
presented,
basically
kinda how
all
you
night,
piece it
and then
together
like the
as
next
you go through
day,
the
and, like,
house.
I beat it
That's
inside
kinda
of like
cool.
less than
Reminds
2
me of like
days.
Metroid.
It's not a very
Prime,
long game.
Where like the logbook scans kind
it's
of
really not.
comprise the plot.
But that's what
You're
I beat for
finding
the
it.
first
It's not
time.
finding you, which is pretty neat. But yeah, all in all, I'd say it's pretty great. I definitely recommend checking it out if you're a Mario franchise fanatic. It's a cool diversion from the usual formula.
I'd say,
And the cool thing is,
it's a very good
you
game.
don't even need to necessarily hunt this one down. There's a new one that came out less than a year ago, Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo
Luigi's
Switch.
Mansion 3 looks
plays
pretty sick.
Pretty much the same.
I've seen a
all
lot of
the
videos
core
of it.
mechanics
I've
are there,
like
but obviously it's a newer game, so there's new stuff
I've like
to be
watched
found in
the
it.
first
I
30,
haven't played
40
it yet,
minutes
but I've
of
looked
it.
up a lot of gameplay videos
It
of
looks
looks pretty
really
sweet.
cool.
I'm waiting for a good deal to present itself with the
I'm in
Switch,
too
but as
deep.
soon
So
as I
like
get
I've
one,
waited
that's
so
gonna be one
long
of the first games I
to
get
buy
for
the
sure.
Switch that the Switch
So,
Pro
that
rumors
does it for this
continue to
video.
happen.
It's been
And I'm like,
pretty
I
fun
can't
going through my
do it
collection again.
because I'm gonna buy a Switch today,
Visiting stuff.
and then they'll finally announce
Great.
the Switch
Who knows
Pro
what the future
/ next gen
holds?
thing.
There are some more specific
2
games
weeks
I know
after the
I wanna
fact,
do in
and
the
I'll be
near
like,
future.
damn
I'm
it!
also gonna start playing games that I haven't
So I'm
played
just
before,
gonna wait.
that are from that era. So like
I'm in
original
too deep.
Xbox, PS2, GameCube,
Which is a shame because there's a
N64,
lot of really good
even
Switch
further
games I want
back,
to play.
stuff that I haven't played
But
before that either
as
I
per
knew of
usual
as
with
a
me,
kid but never
I
got a
don't
chance
play
to
many
and now I
games on
finally
day
own it,
one.
so it's like a
So
first impression
even on
kind of
next
thing.
gen stuff,
But
very
I'm definitely gonna do
few.
more
Like Witcher
revisits.
3, I got that
I
on
have
day
some
one.
plans with that,
Rare
definitely.
occurrence.
And some more smart home videos too. Check those
Superhero
out.
stuff.
I have a video on Logitech Harmony Elite.
Oh man, look at me
programming,
advertising other
and I have a
videos.
video on how to synchronize hue lights to your Xbox.
That video,
or
both of
PlayStation
those two
4, which is pretty
videos
sweet.
are doing
So
really
go ahead and
well.
check those out
The
if you're interested in
Logitech
that
Harmony
stuff.
one,
There's
as of
more
the
coming
recording
down
of
the
this right
pipeline
here,
regarding those
just
kind of
passed
videos, too, 'cause I'm a big smart
230
home guy.
views
I also really enjoy
earlier today,
entertainment systems. I used to
which is
design,
like 7,
theater
8
systems, so
times
it's been
as
a big
much
passion
as
of
any
mine
of these
to do videos
revisit
on those as well.
episodes.
So
People like the
definitely
smart
keep
home
an
stuff.
eye out. There's going to be more coming for sure. But thank you for joining me here. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Look at the old. The song's called Albatross. It's the old logo too. I got the new thing now with the circle with sparks flying around. Yeah, there we go. So that was the Luigi's Mansion revisit. Like I said before, definitely check out the outtake reel for Volume 1 because that has like so much stuff. There are things that I can overlay here and there, but like nothing is going to be that valuable to really see. That outtake reel though has so much funny stuff in it because that was a great time filming that episode. And that was the last one. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do 5 or 6 before I took the channel live. When that one was almost done, I was thinking like, you know what, this is a really good one to kind of end it on because it's got so much going on. There's like this whole little storyline, the guest character and jokes and bits and stuff. It was a great time. I think it's the second, or I think it's tied right with the Metroid video for length. It's definitely long, and I understand 44 minutes. Yeah, I understand the complaints of like it takes too long to get into the video. Yeah, it's 5 minutes longer than the Metroid one. I definitely respect that, and that's why I've definitely learned since then. Like the Spider-Man video is also long; it's like 36 minutes. Although you could subtract like the opening and the end credits. The end credits in particular are pretty long, so it's really like 34 minutes of actual like real content. But even then, it's so much more concise. I've learned so much since then, which is exactly why I want to go back and watch these old ones to both recount trivia about it as I made it, to give my opinion and talk about things that I couldn't talk about in the video, show a little bit of stuff, the alternate takes. Definitely check out the gag reel though, because that's where all the really fun stuff is. But there we go. That's the last video from Volume 1. So awesome. If you're thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Definitely subscribe to get notifications of new content. I've got stuff coming down the line very shortly here. Trying to get the Just Plan stuff back up and running. Still working on revamping the setup. It's been a huge process. I did just post a video on the local game shop that I've been going to called Video Game World Tour. Definitely check that out because that game shop is sick. It's really cool. But that'll be it for today. Have a great rest of your evening, and thanks for watching.